welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Emma. I'm a first year first grade teacher. Today's video is a really exciting one. I've been requested to do this video for a pretty long time now. It is going to be all about how I use play in my first grade classroom through play-based learning, creative play, dramatic play, whatever you want to call it. I get DMs all the time asking about this, and I just keep avoiding it because I feel like I am not the most qualified person to be talking about this. I did not come up with this idea. Honestly, my team does a lot of these things and I just kind of took it and ran with it and made it my own. But I still figured I could answer some questions about it and just at least show you how I do it. Just a little disclaimer before I get started. Not every school will let you do play after kindergarten, which just blows my mind to think about. I did not know that until recently, and so I'm really grateful to be at a place that appreciates play and understands the importance of it past kindergarten. The other disclaimer I need to give is I get asked a lot how I'm still doing this with COVID. I'm doing the best that I can. Again, it's gonna depend on your school and your district and your city and your state and everything, all the regulations. I am still allowed to do this. They are well aware that we do these. And I do the very best that I can to make sure it's still safe and cleaned and sanitized and all that kind of stuff. So if you have any comments about how you don't think that this is COVID friendly or anything negative like that, just don't comment it, please. I'm doing the best that I can. We're all doing the best that we can. And I'm not doing anything that's breaking any rules. My admin is very well aware of everything that we are doing. So just putting that out there. I have like a list because there's so many things I could talk about in this video. It might be a little long. I am very sorry, and I'm gonna try not to ramble, but I just wanna give you as much information as I can and answer all the questions that I get all the time. First, before I get started, I'm just gonna kind of talk through what is it. There's a lot of names for it. Sometimes it's called play-based learning, creative play, dramatic play. I usually call it dramatic play. Basically, the idea behind it is that you use play to help students learn and grow. And there are so many benefits to play-based learning. Problem-solving skills, teamwork skills, communication skills, social skills, fine motor skills, gross motor skills. Like, there's so many benefits to using play to help enhance learning. So I use dramatic play in two different areas of my classroom. So I have morning choice, and then I have my creation stations. And if you watch my vlogs, neither of these words are new to you. You hear me reference them all the time, which is why I get DMs about it all the time. So I'm gonna just talk you through what I do for my morning choice and then what I do for my creation stations. First of all, we're gonna talk about morning choice. This is not something that I came up with. I saw this on Instagram like last summer, I think, and as soon as I heard about it, I knew that I wanted to implement it. Basically, it's kind of like a soft start. So when students come in the morning, they put all their stuff away, they eat their breakfast, and then in that like large gap of time that students are allowed to come in, which in our school is anywhere between 8:45 and 9:10, 9:15, that's a big window of time. And so that gap of time is when they do their morning routine, and the very last step in their morning routine is morning choice. It's kind of like a little STEM bin. I have lots of different tools in there. I recently filmed a very detailed day in my life. I will link it in the cards. And I showed you every single thing that's in my morning choice bins at the moment. I don't have tons and tons of morning choice options just yet. I'm still working on building it, and I definitely have some stuff on my wish list that hopefully I will get eventually, but I don't get to rotate them as often as I would like to. So what I show you in that video is pretty much what is usually in those bins. So how it works is after they've done everything they need to do, they get to go to the morning choice shelf and pick one bin. Every student gets their own bin, so they pick what they want to do that day. Let's say they pick the Dominoes tub. They take the Dominoes back to their seat, and they just sit at their seat and play with those Dominoes in their seat until the bell rings and I move on to the next thing. Just a couple of like rules that I have for morning choice. The first rule is that everything has to be done in their morning routine before they make their morning choice. That tells me that they don't need to tell me anything. They don't need to turn anything in. They've already eaten breakfast, like everything is done. Second rule is they take it to their seat and then they stay in that seat. They don't wander around the room. They don't share with a friend. They are in their seat quietly playing with that STEM bin. There is no accountability piece for morning choice because it's just a soft start. It's not supposed to be super academic. It's just to kind of help them wake up. But they're still like doing STEM activities. They're still building. They're still being creative. It is still academic, but there is no like writing piece or anything attached to it. It's just for fun. The third rule is that once they make their morning choice for the day, they have to stay with that bin. They can't change their mind halfway through and go put it back. And my last rule is that they cannot pick the same thing 2 days in a row. So if I pick the Dominoes today, tomorrow morning when I come in and I make my morning choice, I can't pick the Dominoes. I have to give somebody else the opportunity to get those. And I want them to be able to play and be creative with every option that I have. And I want them to branch out and try new toys. So that's a quick recap of morning choice. I absolutely love it. They are so creative and I just feel like it's the best start to our day. And then right after our morning choice, we go into reading. Reading lasts from around 9:25 until 10 o'clock, and this whole time they are at a creation station. I don't do daily 5, I intended to, but once I actually got hired and started working with my team and found out what they did for their reading rotations, I absolutely loved it. Every single first grade teacher does this completely different, including me. But basically the idea is that you use the dramatic play to kind of enhance learning, and you give it an accountability piece to make it educational. So a couple of the other first grade teachers actually have a bunch of set stations in their room, and every day the kid gets a new station and they stay in that station all day. I did not do this because I did not have the room for it. That really stressed me out for a little bit because I couldn't figure out how I was going to make it work. And then I came up with the idea to put everything in a bin, and when they get assigned their creation station, they take the bin that has all the stuff in it and they find a spot around the room to work with. Since this is during reading, I got asked a lot if they rotate where they're at. So they rotate every day. The creation station they get assigned to is theirs for that whole reading period. So the whole 30-35 minutes that we do reading, they are at that creation station the whole time. I also use this time to pull students if I need to do any reading assessments, if I want them to read to me. So I still do some reading stuff. And since switching back from hybrid, I've actually kind of shifted this a little bit. And I decided that every Monday, we're not gonna go to a creation station and we're just gonna do reading. So they're gonna check out new books. They're gonna silently just read at their seats. I'm gonna pull kids to read with them. My paras are gonna walk around and read with kids, and we're gonna practice that reading every single Monday. I just didn't have as much time for that during hybrid, and so I'm really excited to start that. So we do still read, but it's not like every single day we just sit down and read a book for an hour a day. But with my creation stations, there is an accountability piece. So they have a journal, and every day they write in that journal what they did at the creation station. Since the beginning of the year, that has already expanded and they've already grown on what they're able to do. And I'm kind of chunking it out and slowly letting them do more and more. And hopefully by the end of maybe by the end of the year, they'll be able to write a couple sentences about what they did. But we're slowly getting there. Every couple weeks, I'll add another thing that they need to do in their journal, and it's worked so well. And their journal has to be done by the time we go to recess at 10 o'clock. So in that 30-35 minute time period, they are kind of given free reign. They go and check the pocket chart to see where they're at. They grab the bin, they find a spot. And for the rest of that time, they're playing, they're creating, and they also need to get that journal done before recess. I do not say, okay, you have 10 minutes left, everybody go get your journals. I will give them time warnings. I'll say, okay, we have 20 minutes until recess. This is really, really teaching them independence. And I have already seen such growth where when I give even a 20-minute warning, they're like, oh, I better just go grab it and start brainstorming. So that's a really quick overview of what my creation stations are. I will walk you through every single one of my creation stations. I have 15 different options. Let me walk you through every single one. Okay, so here's just kind of a general overview of what my creation station or dramatic play area looks like. These are my morning choice bins, and I'm not going to go through each individual one. I did recently upload a day in the life, and it was very detailed, and I literally opened every single one, but that's what the morning choice looks like. And then these are all of my creation station options, and this is the pocket chart that goes with it. So first of all, we have Play-Doh. Each kid is given their own Play-Doh bin and they bring that to this creation station. There are lots of different stamps and different tools that they can use with their Play-Doh. Next, we have the construction zone. Pretty self-explanatory. They can really do whatever they want on all of these, but there's lots of like building tools and construction tools, and they really like this one because there's this big mat. Then there is the post office where they practice writing letters. I love this one because it's great practice for writing, which we really need to work on. And they write letters to like friends or family or me, and it's just great practice. And there's even like envelopes and stickers and stamps, and they really like this one. Next is Legoland. Again, pretty self-explanatory. I do have some examples in the bin, but they don't have to do that. They can kind of have free reign and build whatever they would like. Then we have the building site. This one I just tell them they're going to be an architect and they have to create a building. Then we have the doctor's office. This is one that I usually have pairs because it's kind of hard to play doctor's office by yourself. And we talk a lot about sharing and collaboration and how we need to take turns being the doctor and being the patient. Next up, we have games. This one changes pretty frequently. Right now there's just a Uno card game. Sometimes it's like Hi-Ho Cheerios. This one is another one that I have pairs because you can't really play a game by yourself. Then there is the puppet show. I don't have like a puppet stand or anything fancy, but I got these puppets from Amazon and they're reversible and they really like those. And then I just have some other random stuffed animals. This one also I usually have pairs. Then this is the art station. This one they just get free reign and I honestly just throw a bunch of random stuff into this bin. We have like toilet paper rolls, extra paper that we don't use in crafts, pipe cleaners, tons of random stuff, and I always love to see what they come up with, and then they always get to take their creation home. This one is a newer one. This is the train station. So far they've really loved this one. Then we have the Sandbox, and this just is kinetic sand and then some like beach tools, beach toys. They really like this one as well, and I have them do this on a lap desk so that the sand doesn't get everywhere, but they do a pretty good job at making sure they keep it clean. Then I have this really awesome easel that I got for free at the beginning of the year from a kindergarten teacher, and this is my painting station. This one gets a little messy and I was really hesitant to use this one, but they love it, and of course they get to take home their painting at the end of every day, and it's just a really fun one. Then this is my cafe station. This one I also use pairs with, and this is really the only thing I change out seasonally. So right now it's the pumpkin cafe. I'll probably change it in December to be winter themed, and this is just really fun because it's always different what they do. Sometimes they're in a bakery, sometimes they are chefs, sometimes they're at home and they're playing house. So I really love watching them play with the cafe because it's always so different. And we talk a lot on this one too about collaboration and being fair, and how sometimes we're the customer and sometimes we're the chef, and we have to make sure that we're taking turns. And I have some play money, and it's just a really fun one. The cafe might be my favorite. And there's a couple others that I don't have bins for. The first one is listening to reading. So they just have their iPad and they find a cozy spot around the room and they listen to Epic, or they do their iStation. And then I also have a station for the Book Nook where they get to sit in our classroom library and read all the seasonal books, read their own books. And yeah, that is all my creation stations. So they're pretty self-explanatory, but I don't really give them any kind of guidance. I just kind of say, do what you want. And I really love getting to see them be creative and just kind of roll with it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and answer the questions that I got the most of. I think I've answered a lot of questions already just with explaining it all and going through each station, but there are a couple other questions that I really wanted to specifically answer. So first one that I got probably the most is, did I have to purchase this myself? Did the school purchase it? Did they refund me? How did this work? I purchased all of my creation stations and all my Morning Choice toys by myself. I knew I wanted to do Morning Choice a year ago, and so that was like the first thing I started putting on my Amazon wish lists and asking for. I do have a video all about how to build your first classroom, and I will link it in the cards. And I talked about how I asked for Amazon wish list items for like my birthday and Christmas and graduation and all that kind of stuff. Most of the stuff that I got was toys and STEM materials and things for Morning Choice. And I ended up putting some of those Morning Choice options as creation stations because it just kind of fit. So like the doctor's office kit was gifted to me from my wish list. The construction zone one was gifted to me from my wish list. What else? The Legos were gifted. I got a lot of games gifted to me, and the puppets were gifted. So a lot of stuff did get gifted from my wish list. So definitely recommend adding like toys and STEM materials and building blocks and stuff like that to your Amazon wish list. I definitely got a lot of stuff that way, but I also bought a lot of it from my own money. Good places to shop for these kind of things was also asked a lot. I got a lot of stuff from like Five Below, the Dollar Tree, Walmart, Amazon, IKEA. They have a lot of really cheap toys. I think I probably bought the most though from Amazon because they have a lot of fun and cheap stuff like the construction zone and the doctor's office and stuff like that. So definitely recommend Amazon and adding that kind of stuff to your wish list if you're interested in that. Another question I got asked a lot was how am I making sure they're staying safe and how am I doing it all with COVID? So like I said, I'm doing the very best that I can. If you notice, there was a giant bottle of hand sanitizer front and center. So we are sanitizing all the time, and then every single night, it's part of my night routine before I leave school, I spray everything down, that whole area of all my morning choice options and all my creation stations. I spray it all, I wipe it all. I do the very best that I can, but we are also washing our hands before and after and doing our very best to stay safe. And yeah, how do you keep it organized was the next question. And I totally meant to record this at school and I forgot. And I think I've showed this in a vlog before, but I don't know which one, so I'm sorry. But in the back of my Happy Planner, there is a checklist, and across the top of the checklist, I write each station's name. So I'll write Book Nook, Puppets, Art, Sandbox, all that kind of stuff. And then along the side column, I go down and I write my class list. So I have a big pocket chart above my creation stations, and it lists them all, and all they have to do is find their name. So at the end of the day, I take out all the names and I whip out my planner with my checklist and I see where I want to put everybody. So how I kind of do this, it's pretty random, but I just make sure they haven't already been there this round. So like with little Emma, I'm going to go through, here's Emma's name, here's all the creation stations name. I'm going to follow her row and I see, oh, she hasn't been to the Sandbox yet. I'm going to put a check and I'm going to put Emma's name in the Sandbox column. That's what I do with every kid. And I kind of like fill up one whole page, and then once everybody has been to every station, I will start over. They do not get to revisit a station until we've like gone on to the next round and they've visited every station, if that makes sense. It's not perfect, but that's just how I do it. And I also got asked how often do I rotate like the stuff. Like I said, I don't have a lot of stuff yet. I am still trying to build it up. I am still keeping an eye out for new creation stations so that I can switch them more often, but that's just where I'm at. Maybe if I had more, I'd switch them more frequently, but it's fine for now. I think that's it. I hope that I answered all of your questions. If you have any more questions that I did not answer, please leave them below. I do get a lot of messages on Instagram, so if you comment it, I am way more likely to see it and respond, and hopefully I can be helpful. I hope that you enjoyed this video. It was pretty fun to talk through because I've never really like sat down and explained my process and how I do everything. So I hope that you liked it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss the rest of my videos. I am vlogging my whole first year journey, and I've also been throwing up lots of random videos on top of my weekly vlogs, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss them, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!